Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 6, and this is going to be my review for Episode 5 for this season, otherwise entitled Kiss Kiss, Breach Breach. But of course, spoiler alert for everything that happened in this episode. We're going to be going through everything that, happened in this episode, so if you have not watched the episode, well, maybe you should go watch it. Might help. But just a quick warning, I want to get this out of the way right now. There's no episode next week, so we have a week's break. I'm not too sure what the reason is. Is it Thanksgiving? I don't know. Is Thanksgiving? I don't know. I'm obviously Australian. I don't know when Thanksgiving is. It might be Thanksgiving next week. I have no idea, but they're taking a week's break. So there's your warning. But last episode was obviously a big one for the whole Bloodwork thing, really pushing that along. Pretty much it's pretty much he's fully crossed the bridge into becoming Bloodwork. They haven't called him Bloodwork. I don't know if they're ever going to call him Bloodwork. Maybe Ramsey will give him give him his own name in the next couple of episodes or something. But he pretty much crossed that bridge. We saw the big hospital scene, which sort of really highlighted his powers and I guess how the extent of his powers, how many people he can control, and also I guess the whole Spider-Man Venom swinging on buildings and stuff like that. But yeah, seeing all that was interesting. And also at the end of the last episode, we saw that Harrison Nash Wells, just simply Nash Wells, was looking in some tunnels, and it seems that he's looking for the monitor, and we saw the hologram of the monitor going into that area, and that's where Nash Wells' focus is right then, and also leading into this episode. But speaking of this episode, it actually starts 12 hours in the future with Cisco being randomly arrested. Now, usually when they do this kind of thing, it's sort of like a mislead to make you go, oh my god, what happened there? What makes Cisco get arrested? But usually whatever plays out after is it doesn't actually happen. So we get maybe a handful of these a season. I don't think we get too many of them this season, but you get some of these 12 hours in the future sort of scenes at the beginning. But yeah, that's right. That's how we started off the episode. Now, it was actually pretty random that we had a time jump. We had a 2-week time jump since last episode. So that Barry mentions that Ramsey Rosso has been AWOL or just absent, just no appearances for about 2 weeks. So everything's calmed down. So Barry decides, you know what, let's go on a trip. So I think they go to Tahiti, I wasn't really listening to where they went. I just know they're going on a trip. So obviously this means Barry and Iris are gone for the entire episode. We tend to get maybe 1 or 2 of these episodes a season, whether that, Barry's gone for the entire episode or Barry and Iris are gone, or maybe it's Barry and someone else. But there's usually an episode or 2 a season where Barry's gone for the entire episode, and this allows for the other characters to have their own storylines, or for one character in particular to have their own storyline. They're the Barry for the episode, if that makes sense. So the main character, obviously in the case of this episode, it's Cisco. But we had the Barry AI system, which was just interesting and funny. Obviously it wasn't used that often. It was more like a little gag at the beginning, but I just thought that was pretty funny. But we do see that Cisco is freaking out. Now we did see this in the promos and a lot of talk about what the hell was actually going on here. Now he thinks he is sleepwalking, and Camilla has known about this, not really known about it for years, obviously, or weeks. It happened once before, I think the night before. So Camilla's experienced this, but just thought it was a one-off, so didn't really mention it. Just thought, you know what, won't embarrass Cisco, just ignore it, and we'll just see how it goes. But essentially, Cisco is trying to I think he was trying to cut his hair, but it almost Cisco was acting as if he was trying to cut his ears off or something like that, or slit his own throat. Maybe that's just how protective Cisco is of his goddamn hair. But yeah, Cisco is it's not sleepwalking. It's definitely something else. It's some sort of trance. But Breacher does appear. Obviously, I think most of us would have known that Breacher was going to be in this episode. He appears once again in Cisco's bedroom. He loves, just popping into the bedroom. At least this time, Gypsy wasn't there, and Cisco's bed would have been even more awkward. But bad lead-in, bad segue for me right there. There's, not the best of segues for me right there. But Gypsy's dead. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe he would have preferred if Gypsy was actually there because she would have been alive. Anyway, so Gypsy is dead. Unfortunately, this was sort of predictable due to the synopsis or description for the episode. It pretty much says a murder that affects Breacher. It's it's obviously Gypsy. Who else would it be? Anyway, Breacher needs Cisco's help in order to track her killer. There's no idea as in regards to who the killer exactly is, because it's sort of a code name and they're a bit of an incognito character. So Breacher needs Cisco's help in going about finding out who the hell did this. Now, Camilla does tag with Cisco along for most of this episode, I guess, especially to the murder scene, straight after this. I think they needed to do this just to give Camilla something to do, and also just give her and Cisco's relationship some more screen time, because you really got like little bits of it, and it's usually just Cisco talking. There was never not much of Camilla, and even with Camilla in like the whole Iris newspaper thing, isn't that big of a player. You know, she's just there, and then she might walk off screen, and it's two other characters might have a chat. So this was an important episode for both Cisco as well as Camilla. But we do find out that Gypsy was straight up vaporized, like not stabbed. There's no body. Straight up vaporized. Like, you couldn't even make ashes out of it. It's just literally black marks, like charcoal on the ground. Like, that's one hell of a way to go, and not a good way either. Now, in the vibe like replication thing they do, which is like through the white noise thing as well, they see that the weapon that killed Gypsy, like the vaporizer, if you want to call it, is actually within Star Labs. That's its location. And then the actual like sort of vibe replication actually shows that Cisco killed Gypsy. Like, what the hell? So of course Breacher freaks the hell out. And obviously the theory amongst them is that like the breach psychosis may have caused Cisco to go kill Gypsy, because obviously he didn't remember, you know, the night before, the first thing we saw with like, you know, Camilla witnessed it, where he was like in his shoes at the door with his keys as if he was going to go somewhere. So Cisco can't remember it, so he thinks, oh, maybe I did do this. Now this hand in hand goes with like Cisco, I guess, like continually doubting himself due to the stress of what is happening, or what is destined to happen to Barry, I guess, and that, oh, I can't lead this team and everything like that. So Cisco's always been a character that's has sort of doubted himself when like push comes to shove. He can be very cocky in certain things, but when push comes to shove, Cisco can be very doubtful upon himself and stuff like that. So it was good to sort of see him go past that and push past that like wall, if you want to call it. But Cisco does find out that his white noise machine, which did play a part. I had a feeling it's like this white noise machine has been in like 4 scenes in like with different purposes. There's something up with it. But we find out that his white noise machine, has been messed with to pretty much send him into those weird, you know, like what do they call it? like the trances, if you want to call it, or the breach psychosis things. Now, it is no surprise that Echo was a Cisco doppelganger. He even looked different when he took off the thing. He didn't look like how happy and cheery Cisco. Anyway, even though I guess you could say, well, he's in the breach psychosis, like trance thing, but he still looked different. So Echo was a Cisco doppelganger that did all that to Gypsy. Now, the whole scene with him and Echo I thought was a really good scene. It went on for a decent amount of time as well, but I thought it was a good scene between the two Ciscos, if you want to call it. And even like when Cisco tricks Echo into firing the vaporizer and has like the little, like the anti-breacher trap thing within it, I thought it was actually very smart and a very Cisco thing to do. But overall, I think that Cisco portion of the episode was good. I think Carlos Valdes did a really, really good job throughout that whole thing. Carlos Valdes is a really good actor, but I don't think the show ever gives him that much stuff to really, you know, highlight that, you know, episode by episode. Like with Grant Gustin, he can really show how good of an actor he is at least every 1 or 2 episodes. Carlos is only given that opportunity maybe like 4 or 5 times a season, unfortunately, just due to the material. So this episode, he was able to go, look, I can act. Now, we did have the Caitlin and Ramsey stuff play out in this episode. Now, Ramsey sort of wants Caitlin to join him on this like immortality trip. Now, obviously, it was Caitlin this episode, not Killer Frost, so there was a bit of a swap over in regards to who was in control here. Now, it was a bit weird that he did spare Caitlin's life, but I guess if you're a friend from the past, you get an extra life in this game. Now, I have a feeling if people to know, Danielle Panabaker is directing episode 6, the next episode, so due to that, she couldn't be in this episode too much because she was doing all the prep for the next episode. I have a feeling if she wasn't directing episode 6, there might have been a bit more to this. And it wouldn't have been just one scene with there's one scene with Bloodwork in the episode as well. I think there might have been a bit more to it, and they might have taken maybe some of the stuff with Cisco out of the episode. But yeah, there's just one scene between these two, and it went by pretty quickly. So yeah, it was a bit random. Almost felt a bit forced because there was only one scene. But yeah, I thought it was a bit weird that Caitlin just got away with it. But anyway. Now, Chester P. Runk, he's almost fully recovered. That all plays out in episode 6. I think it's Cecile has something to do with that. But yeah, he's going to be in next episode. But one of the big things throughout the episode, or at least one of the bigger side stories, was the whole thing with Joe and Nash Wells. So Joe had been keeping an eye on Nash Wells, tracking him and following him down to that area that we saw Wells in at the end of last episode, in that whole tunnel thing. A scuffle ensues, causes the cave to, the tunnel to cave in. Big OO. Now we get Joe's speech about having faith in people. Faith was like the key word of the day. I think if you took a shot every single time someone said faith, you would definitely die from alcohol poisoning. Don't play that game with the Flash, because it's either we or the Flash, faith, hope, memes, apartment 4, keywords there, you're going to die if you do shots if they say the word, so avoid that. But Joe does bring up the monitor, and that sort of makes Nash Wells's jaw drop. He even says Ma Novu, which is obviously the monitor's actual name. So this just made me go, oh damn, that's interesting. Obviously, we're going to see that play out hopefully next episode, which the end scene does indicate. But we do see Ralph save Joe and Nash, and just Ralph using various detective materials, which I thought was very Ralph Dibny-esque, so that was good to see. But yeah, that end scene I alluded to, we have Nash basically almost boasting, like, hey, I know how to say Barry Allen, and this is going to lead to them heading to the tunnels next episode. I think Ralph and Barry don't go there, but I think all the other members of Team Flash and even some of the newspaper people go there. So next episode is going to be a big reveal in regards to the tunnel stuff. And I think that's important because episodes 7 and 8 is basically the Bloodwork 2-part finale. So I think they needed to get a lot of the crisis set up, or at least crisis hints, out in episode 6. So expect a lot of crisis stuff in episode 6. Yeah, because episode 8 will have it, I'm sure, but episode 7 and 8 will be focused on Bloodwork. But I'm interested to see what's within there, because the monitors, he's got some stuff in there. So I'm interested to see what, is within the walls of the monitor's hideout, if you want to call it. But overall, look, was this a 10 out of 10 episode? No. Was it an enjoyable episode to watch? Was it cool to see Carlos actually get the reins of the show, pretty much be the new leader of Team Flash, if you want to call it? Yeah, I think he did a good job. If he did a bad job acting, it might have been a bit of a bore to watch. And we've seen that in the past, like the Nora episode last year when she had to lead it. With this, I think they tied up a lot of loose ends and they just gave Carlos some stuff to do. Obviously, I guess the Bloodwork and Caitlyn scene was a bit random. Maybe they could have put that in another episode, but maybe they needed it to be in this episode for next episode, or setting up episodes in the future. I don't know. But I really didn't have too many issues with the episode. I thought it was actually a pretty strong, I guess you could say, quote unquote filler episode, which I know people will chuck that out there, even though it wasn't filler because it was pretty central to the story. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed my video and the episode, why not drop a like on the video? It'd be awesome if you could do that. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on the episode. What did you like? What did you hate? Various theories you might have, let me know down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.